if you have any creative outlets that you are thinking about that you really want to pursue, but you always feel like something is getting in the way, I would say definitely give yourself some grace. Break it down little by little to see, like, okay, how far can I get if I just do this? If you start to be creative, it'll snowball. There'll be like a snowball effect into more creativity. So that creativity that I was having back in 2020, 2021, when I created my blog, it's been like a little snowball. Not a lot of snow on the ground. I wasn't picking up a lot of momentum, but I feel like at the end of 2024 into 2025, like it was snowing like crazy. It was a blizzard because that snowball got to be huge, and now I am where I am now. So if you feel like you're on the cusp of being able to release something, I would say go for it. Welcome to another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. I'm your host, Meli Clay, and thanks for joining me. This is a show about introspection, about self-discovery. It's about encouraging personal growth and personal development. So I started this show back in 2022, and in seasons 1 and 2, I have a lot of guests on the show where I'm speaking to them about who they are, who they thought they were going to be when they were younger, and what has the journey been for them as they have grown into adulthood? And also, who are they becoming? What are the goals that they're striving for to get to next? And mainly the reason why I even started the show was because I was dealing with my own struggles, my own discoveries of myself, and just learning more about myself. And so I wanted to also learn more about how do other people discover themselves? How do other people get through life with the struggles that they're going through? And so I like asking people questions about their lives, and I will also ask you all questions about your life, even on these solo episodes. I ask questions, so please engage in the comments. Or if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can email me or DM me on TikTok or on Instagram if you would like to connect and be a guest on the show. I would love that. So in season 3, the season that we're in right now, I will do solo episodes where I'm just speaking to you all, or I will also have guests on the show. So these solo episodes, it's basically me talking to you all about some things that I've been learning about myself lately, journeys I've been going on, epiphanies that I've been having. And I ask you all, what are some of the things that you're doing to deal with issues that might be going on? Because there might be some universal things that we're all struggling with or that we're all going through right now. So this is what the show is. So if you would like to watch on a video, I am on YouTube. So if you're listening to this right now on audio, in the show notes, there's a YouTube link. So you can click on that and come see me on YouTube. And seasons 1 and 2 are all audio. So you can listen to those on Spotify, wherever you're listening to this right now. If you're not on YouTube, that's where you can also listen to seasons 1 and 2. They are there for you all. So today, I would like to talk about a phenomenon of creativity begetting creativity. So it's 2025 right now, and I'm not sure exactly when you're listening to this. Maybe you've discovered this show a couple years in the future, and now you're listening to some of these episodes in the past. But I think that this is something that is timeless. This is a timeless idea of basically, if you start to be creative, it'll snowball. There'll be like a snowball effect into more creativity. So I would say maybe like mid 2024 for myself. That's kind of when I started to get back into my creativity bag. And I feel like in 2025, that has just catapulted. Like the snowball is huge right now. And I'm not sure exactly why. Some of the astrology girlies would say that it's because Pluto is now moved into Aquarius, and that happened in November 2024. And I don't know, I'm not sure how to explain a lot of those things when it comes to astrology, even though I enjoy learning more about it. But basically, they would say for Aries, which is my sun sign, they would say that now that Pluto is in Aquarius for the first time in 200 years, this is something that Aries can probably be feeling like they can release and that they can really go after all of the goals that they have been feeling like they've been kind of hindered from. And of course, I'm sure that there are a myriad of reasons why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling now and why I feel like I can really express my way in a multi-layered, multifaceted type of way. But for this episode, I want to talk about some ways that I feel like I have been able to express myself. So, like I was saying in a previous episode about the writing retreat that I had gone on in April of this year, I was able to really like get into the short story that I will be soon to be releasing. I'm so excited about that. So please stay tuned for learning about how you can get the short story, and I'm over the moon about it. But I was able to really just like it's an idea that I've been contemplating, I think, for almost 2 years now. And I was finally able to sit down and write it all out. It's like I was formulating the ideas in my mind, but I wasn't able to get it out for whatever reason until April of 2025. And then it just started to really snowball into that momentum of me continuing to work on it and to actually get it to a completed state where I feel really proud about it. And I was able to collaborate with my friend on it, and she was helping me edit it and everything and just walking me through that self-publishing process. And I actually felt like I had the capacity to do it in that moment when in years prior, something always felt like it was in the way, or something was more urgent, or something with my job, or something with my social life that I felt like was more important to me at the time versus really exploring and solidifying my creative outlets. So with my short story, it was something that I'm like, wow, all I had to do was sit down for, 12, 15 hours out of that weekend and really start something that I will be able to complete. Like thinking about it that way, it's like, oh, well, why did it take me so long? But really, honestly, with all the things going on in the world, all of the turmoil and just everything that you are experiencing, that is a lot. So if you have any creative outlets that you are thinking about that you really want to pursue, but you always feel like something is getting in the way, I would say definitely give yourself some grace. Because I had to remind myself, like, okay, Melissa, you're keeping your head above water with your day job, with like eating. I know I always talk about eating on the show, but really thinking about eating 3 meals a day, even if you have a big breakfast and a big dinner and you only eat 2 meals a day, that's still a lot to think about. And I am a single person. I don't even have to think about children, a spouse. I don't have any pets. Like I only have a couple plants. Those are the only things that I have to think about, but it still can be burdensome. So if you have any creative outlet that you want to pursue, give yourself grace, give yourself some time, break it down little by little to see like, okay, how far can I get if I just do this? So with my creative writing, I had actually started a blog back in 2021. I started this blog in 2021. It was birthed out of the pandemic and my life slowing down a lot. I was living alone and I had no one in the house with me. Like I would talk to my friends on Zoom or on Marco Polo, but really I was in the house by myself. So my life, came to a complete halt, like a lot of people's did. And I took that extra time to actually get back sitting down to write because I have a creative writing degree and like I love creative writing. And with my blog, it wasn't necessarily fiction writing, but I was still was I was about to make up a word. I was gonna say I was storyalizing my life. Basically, like telling stories through speaking about the things that I have been experiencing. So I've been doing that in 2021. It was a little bit spotty. I wasn't writing in that blog consistently, but it was still an outlet that I had. It was still something that I knew if I wanted to sit down and write something, that I would be able to publish it. People could read it if they want, but I had that feeling of accomplishment of just getting something out there. So, because I had that in the back of my mind, like, okay, I was able to do this, create this website, create this blog, and post these blog posts on there. And so, knowing that, and just kind of like over the years, formulating the story that I wanted to tell in my mind, like combining that, okay, Melissa, you've written blog posts before, like you can do this. This is just something where the short story, it'll be several bursts of a blog post of like sitting down, writing like sections of the short story and like really honing in on, okay, this is what I want to talk about in this area of the story. And this is how I want to connect it to this next area of the story. And so I was breaking down my short story bit by bit by looking at, okay, I want to talk about this now, and now I want to talk about this. And so I was breaking it down so that I could actually digest completing the work. So that creativity that I, excuse me, was having back in 2020, 2021 when I created my blog, it's been like a little snowball. Not a lot of snow on the ground. I wasn't picking up a lot of momentum, but I feel like at the end of 2024 into 2025, like it was snowing like crazy. It was a blizzard because that snowball got to be huge. And now I am where I am now. And I feel like everything that I can release anything whenever I want. I don't feel any internal hindrance or there aren't any external hindrances that I'm allowing to stand in my way. So if you feel like you're on the cusp of being able to release something, I would say go for it. Like don't keep waiting for the time when you feel like it's going to be the most perfect because it's never going to be the most perfect. Never, ever, not once. Like when I finally released this podcast in 2022, I had been thinking about this since 2017, 2018. I have been trying with other friends to maybe release joint pod or co-hosting podcasts with them. And then eventually I came up with a concept that I could do on my own where I didn't have to wait for someone because I didn't want the external hindrances to stand in my way. So definitely go for it. Like all the way 2022, I could have even waited until 2025 to actually release this podcast to publish it because it never felt perfect. It never felt like, okay, I know everything that I want to do with this podcast and now I'm going to release it. So I just felt like attack it as it goes along. At least, I mean, of course, put yourself in a position where you're able to feel comfortable with releasing something or even trying something for the first time. Feel comfortable in that, but you're always going to be scared. There's always going to be another time to do it later. There's always going to be another reason to procrastinate. And believe you me, I procrastinate a lot, but there's always a reason I could tell myself not to do it. But what if you did it? Like, what if you just did it? What if you just tried, and then you see, oh, I feel okay about that. Or like, oh, I learned something about this. Like, oh, I did it this way. Maybe next time I'll try it a different way because I didn't get the results that I wanted. But now you have that information. And if you never tried it, you would never have that information. You would never get to the other side to be like, I did it and now maybe I want to shift or maybe I want to try something else. You'll always be thinking like, I just need to do it instead of, okay, I've done it. Now I can move forward. Now I can propel myself because you'll always be at that plateaued place where you're not able to actually do anything because you haven't tried it. You haven't started. So from me to you, go ahead and start it. Try whatever it is, whatever creative thing that you're thinking about, even if it's a hobby. Like the winter is coming up, we're going to be in the house a lot more. If there's some hobby that you can do in your house, try that. Like I'm going to start crocheting again. I have a bunch of yarn that I never used up. And so I'm like, I need to do something with my hands. And it's going to be winter again. Like, let me get back into crocheting. So with my short story, it was all the creativity. Like now I feel like I could move forward and just really the story was flowing out of me, I think because of that foundation of my blog, also reading a lot. So I got back into books. And reading a lot more has helped me, I feel like, release the words that are inside of me and just like basically when you're reading, if you're paying attention in a certain way, when you're reading through that, you're understanding the structure of how these different authors are putting the stories together. And then you just kind of learn a little bit through osmosis of how you might want a story to get put together based on all these other books that you've been reading. And there are a lot of virtual writing communities. Like I'm a part of one. It's called Push Your Pen, and that's on Patreon. So you could join a writing community, get feedback from people if writing is something that you're thinking about doing as a hobby or trying to get some kind of creative release. And then also with season 3 of this podcast. So I released on July 1st of 2025, and it had been over a year since my last episode back in, I think, March of 2024. And I was just taking that time, basically living my life. And the plans that I was having for my podcast were happening in my mind like on the back end. And I wasn't thinking too much about my podcast, but I was living my life. I was having my experiences and everything. And once I got back into focusing on the season 3 that I wanted to release, my podcast listening had increased. So just listening to how other people were doing their podcasts and also how they were doing their video and everything, that's something that I was able to really like lock into and listen, watch, see the types of things that I wanted to glean for myself with releasing this next season. And now actually doing it, I feel like because now, okay, this is episode 23. I feel like after recording over 20 episodes and just speaking a lot, I feel like I've been like releasing my voice even more so on a consistent basis because seasons 1 and seasons 2 or seasons 1 and 2, the first season was about 12, 14 episodes. The next season was like 15, 16 episodes. I haven't done as many episodes then as I've done now. And I just feel like something has been unlocked. Like I've just been speaking a lot more and thinking through my thoughts a lot more. And I feel like doing that has now created that momentum to continue to speak. I've also been sending more voice notes and everything to my friends and just like listening to people speak. And I feel like that's really been doing something for me. So if you have a hobby where you feel like or you want to try a hobby and you don't really know how to get into it, or you have a passion that you want to experience yourself, to explore yourself, and you're not really sure how to get into it, I would suggest listening, watching, whatever it is that you want to do, like consuming that if possible. If it's something that you want to learn how to do, maybe it's like needlepoint. Maybe you can watch YouTube videos of people doing close-up needlepoint work to see, okay, what's the technique? It could be now I can't even think of any other hobbies. But if it's something where it's like, I don't know how to actually get into it, maybe you can use YouTube. I mean, it's a free resource. Like, if you want to learn how to play tennis, maybe in this time when it's getting colder and you don't really want to be outside playing tennis, maybe you could watch YouTube and learn different ball handling techniques with the tennis racket, or like how to hold a tennis racket. Maybe you're left-handed and it's harder for you to learn how to play tennis because there are a lot of right-handed instructors, or, something like that. But I would say for the enrichment of your life, really like explore the things that you are feeling passionate about, because going to work, that daily grind is a lot. Cooking for yourself is a lot, unless that's a passion of yours. Now, if cooking is a passion of yours, tell me what you're making. Send me the recipes, because if you sell it to me, then I might be into it. I might be cooking up a storm because of your passion. So, creativity begets creativity. I really believe that. And I really think that once I took one step forward, I was able to continue that momentum. So I definitely want to impart that to you all about taking a step, and then you'll kind of see it go forward. Like if you feel like you're in a rut, try something new. Try one thing that's new and see if you can get out of that rut. It could be something little. And if you quote unquote fail, that's fine too, because at least you tried and now you have the information. You can never fail because you glean information from trying something and it not going the way that you thought. So I just want to leave y'all with that, and leave myself with that as I continue to keep these avenues open that I have for myself when it comes to creativity, and not beating myself up about like, oh, Melissa, that was like a stinker of a paragraph. Like, what are you even talking about? I don't want to be doing that to myself. I want to just write with abandon and then I can edit later. But my next segment is called Pod Corner, and this is where I recommend an episode, or I always say episode. It never fails. But this segment called Pod Corner is where I recommend a podcast to you all, something that I've been listening to that I have really been enjoying, and I would like to recommend it to you all because I think you would also enjoy. And this podcast is called We Was Watching Podcast, and they talk about TV shows, they talk about movies, a lot of like sci-fi shows on there, some shows that I haven't seen other podcasters talk about. They have done things that I've listened to in the past were Righteous Gemstones. They also talked about The White Lotus. Right now, I think they're going through The Chair, and they're also talking about Pluribus, which is the show that just started on Apple TV. So there's a big archive. So if you want to like go back and listen to what they were talking about with those shows, excuse me, if you've watched them, or if you haven't watched them and you're trying to figure out is it worth it to watch them, you can listen to them and they will talk about their thoughts, how these shows relate to culture, politics, etc. So it's called We Was Watching Podcast. And this has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. Thanks for joining. Bye. This has been another episode of the Me in the Making podcast. Please rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Tell a friend, tell a family member. We all deserve to grow and change and become our best selves, whatever that might look like to you. And please connect on Instagram at Making Me Pod, on TikTok. You can email me at meli@makingmepod.com. I would love to hear from you. Let me know if you want to be a guest on the show. And yeah, I'm just having such a great time. I'm so happy to have been able to launch this video episode for you all, and come again. Bye.